Recently I showed you a shield from Salahs Archery that I found too pretty to actually use. They offered to send a less decorated one for full testing. And you know what that means. I'm gonna do what's considered a pro thug move and shoot an unarmed man. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit of padding where the straps are. In fact, I'm gonna squeeze it into the straps so that there's a little bit of give, not too much. Because I don't want it to act like armor, basically, where it just rests against the body. There, that'll do. If that's too cushioned, I'm gonna adjust it, but for now, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna use crossbows for this because I don't have any bow with a sufficiently high draw weight for a test like this. We'll see what happens. And I'm not gonna forget eye pro. All right, I'm gonna aim for the side of the shield. See what happens. Oh boy, that went all the way. Look at that. In other words, if you're holding this shield, it just got permanently fixed to your arm. It's now pinned there. That's what I'd call bad news. That's not as stuck as I expected. You can just twist it out. Not too bad. I mean, of course the damn insert stays in. Yeah, that really didn't do much to stop the arrow. Well, I'm pretty sure all it's gonna do is destroy the arrow, but I'm gonna shoot the steel boss. I have a feeling that's gonna ricochet something fierce. Oh, holy shit. Yeah, the arrow did a 180, bounced off the crossbow and zoomed past my face. Didn't expect that. Am I glad that I put on eye protection? The bolt whizzed straight past my face, like this far away from my face. And I see the chronograph doesn't read at all. I'm assuming it's too dark in here. All right, I tried. Damn it, I was so startled by almost getting shot in the face that I forgot to operate the slow-mo camera. The steel holds up, of course. It got dented a lot more than I expected, though. I don't even understand how that happened. I angled it. It wasn't exactly flat on, but that came almost straight back. Yikes. The risks I take for your entertainment. That better be worth a like. Okay, so I'm not gonna shoot the steel again. Oh shit. I have a problem. Now I can't aim anymore. I have to awkwardly hold it in front of me. All right, good enough, I guess. What? What the hell? Why is the insert just hanging there? Oh well, you can see what happened. It went through again, and once again, that thing would now be pinned to your arm. That's the one thing I do not like about strapped shields. Because if this was a center grip shield, you'd be fine. It's far enough away from you, but your arm is directly behind it, so ouch. Okay, I'm gonna angle a little bit more and shoot a different spot. That's still a bad news situation. The stupid fucking GoPro shut down again because it overheated. I love it. Piece of shit. All right, now the big old boy. There's no way I can aim this crossbow with the fencing mask on. But with this bolt, I'd rather not risk it flying at me. I'm gonna have to shoot from the hip and hope for the best. Hope for no ricochet. Oh boy. That was okay. this is what we got. It cut into it. And that was the first ricochet. That almost landed in my face. Is there anything on the inside? No, not for that one. It would be a lot safer to do it outdoors at a greater distance, but there are two problems with that. One, I can't haul all this crap into the woods. And two, this one doesn't generate amazing velocities. I mean, you see how short the power stroke is. That's it. That is not much distance over which to accelerate the bolt. When this crossbow was new, its draw weight was just under 160 kilograms or 350 pounds. The tricky thing about medieval crossbows is they can lose power as the string stretches. At one point mine went down to 119 kilograms or 262 pounds. After I tightened the string, it went up to 150 kilograms or 330 pounds. I'm assuming that's where it still is. At this short draw, it's roughly comparable to an 80-pound bow, maybe slightly less, which is on the low end of what was used on historical battlefields. And that's why I decided to be this close to the target in these tests. Well, isn't that happy fun times? Especially that. In my estimation, you might feel a little sting in your arm. Is there some kind of aftermarket cooling for GoPros? The Hero 10 is such a mess. It overheats and shuts down after 15 minutes. It's pathetic. What have you done, GoPro? Really? Okay, let me transition to something that's less dangerous to me. A javelin. This is very light. It's got a pretty small point. Gonna throw a bit harder. Oh no, the GoPro's in the way. Stupid thing won't record anyway. So it looks like that went about half into the shield, maybe. Yeah, I can feel some material being pushed in on the inside. One thing to keep in mind about all these tests is distance will change the result. I'm very close. I'm like, what, 3 or 4 meters away? So if the same thing happened at 10 or 20 or 30 meters, it would be much less effective and it probably would not go through. However, what I have here is not super powerful. You often found 90, 100, 120, 140 pound draw weights, sometimes even more. So even at a distance, that's still gonna pack quite a punch. And when it comes to thrown weapons, it all depends on the strength. I'm closer, but I'm not in great shape right now. Somebody who's way stronger would output easily this much force at twice the distance or more, probably. I'm gonna do one more just for good measure. It's a little bit hard to show, but I can feel it. It's poking through there. Yeah, you can just about see it probably. All right, time for melee weapons. I'm gonna start with this 1860 cavalry saber. And if I accidentally hit my GoPro, it won't be a loss. No damage to the saber, but definitely some damage to the shield. That's a mark where it cut into the shield and chopped off a third of this decorative fitting here. No damage on the inside. Okay, that shaved off some. Again, cut into the surface, but didn't get through. If, on the other hand, I cut into the rim, that should be a lot more effective. It sure is. It's kind of impressive just how clean the cut is. And it did its job. It stopped it before it cut deep enough to get into the arm. Interesting, the steel plate is separated. It's quite loose now. That's what we got. Not enough to get through. I mean, there is a bit of a limit to the accuracy here because this moves more than it would if you wear it on your arm. So I might have to actually take off the padding. All right, time for the flanged mace. I see no damage on the inside, and even on the outside, it's not much. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm pretty sure that was the mace. The IKEA Allen key fits. Interesting. There, good as new. I'm gonna spare you the joke. The problem with blunt impact is just, there's no point to it. I didn't hit the button on the slow-mo camera because I didn't think it did much. I was wrong. Super happy fun times. Oh, hello there. How about something even more poignant? I mean, it did the job. It would have been a lot worse without the shield, but at a price. You can look all the way through that hole. I think it was stopped by Bob, actually, rather than the shield. Sorry, buddy. Some of you might think I shouldn't mess around too much, but you'd be wrong. It's at the point where I could basically break this piece out because it's been cut here and there's the space between the rattan rods, so it's not much holding it there. I'm not going to put a ratchet strap around it, hooked into the ropes that form the handles to simulate holding onto it a little more firmly. Okay, let's see, is it actually stuck or can I get it out? Let's see what happens when putting it in a much more stable position. So now, there's a good amount of resistance, it can't just slide around, and I wouldn't want you to walk away with the impression that I was holding back or something. Okay, it was not stopped by the steel boss, but almost. There's one rattan rod left. I can already picture the objection some of you are going to have. Yes, with a shield like this, normally you would try to block with the surface, but in combat, manure happens sometimes. You may not always be able to angle the shield such that it faces the attack directly with the flat side. It didn't actually go as far as I expected, and it bent the tip a little bit. That's easy. That was a very relaxed swing, just like, whoop. It takes nothing. With an axe, even if you hit flat on, you can angle it in such a way that it digs in with the top horn. Like that. I think I chopped into Bob's shoulder. Poor guy. I feel like that's enough carnage. What do you think? Here's a closer look at how the shield is made. So you can see the individual rattan rods, and there's a generous amount of glue holding those all together. All right, so generally you would of course try to catch strikes on the face of the shield, but sometimes you may not be able to. For example, if there is a cut to my upper right opening and I'm not able to block that with a weapon, I may have to do this and meet it with the edge because I can't really angle this effectively. It takes too long. You're turning all the way over here, and if I did, assuming this is a feint, I go all the way over here and I'm opening myself up completely over there. It's much better to just do this. So in that case, you're catching it on the edge, not the flat. It's interesting that none of the ropes were cut or none of the hardware was damaged enough to where you can't hold it anymore. So that still works. It still offers some protection, particularly if you block with the steel part. That would still work. I've noticed when holding it buckler style, gripping it like this, it's much less stable. That's of course always the case, but this even more so than bucklers with a solid grip, because that's not gonna have any kind of give. This, the ropes can twist and turn a little bit, so this is not as stable. Of course, it doesn't have to be, because even if you defend like this and a strike knocks it around, it's not that big of a deal because you have it that much farther away from you, right? You're not holding it here where a weapon can get you behind the shield. You're holding it there where arrows can't get you and weapons are much further away. But if you're holding it like this, you're definitely blocking a lot with the rim of the shield rather than the face, because there's going to be strikes coming to either side. So what do? You move the shield like this. You wouldn't do it like this, that's not good. That's fine, that side not so much. So you would have to catch it like this here maybe, or even like this, and on the other side on the rim. So obviously there's a lot of damage. Flex tape ain't gonna fix that, but it still did its job for the most part. Really the only exception is anything that went through here, where the arm is. There were a couple of thrusts and arrows and all that went through and would have gotten into the arm and pinned the shield to the arm. That's the main problem here. You don't have that when you hold it like this, because then the hand is safe behind the steel. So it's actually interesting that in history they didn't use a rectangular piece of steel here. That would have made more sense to me, to just cover the entire section that the arm is behind, as opposed to just in the center. Despite all the damage, if I had held the shield during the tests, I would have been injured, but I would have survived, which can't be said if you just stand there and take it, obviously. So the shield did its job. And generally in history, shields were often considered disposable. They weren't really expected to last unless they were made of steel or reinforced across the entire face. And this is something that people often point out. Why wouldn't you always want to reinforce the rim with steel or iron or whatever you have? And there are sometimes good reasons not to. One is cost. The other is, depending on the material of the shield, it's not a bad thing if the weapon gets stuck in here. As long as the shield stops it before it gets too close to your arm or hand, it's fine, right? If you manage to catch the opponent's blade in there, even for just a moment, that might be enough to counterattack while they're stuck there. So there are some reasons for it. Anyway, I hope you found these tests interesting. The link to the store where you can find these shields will be in the description down below. Thanks for watching.